Hi, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here today on Conscious Business Zone with Aidan Chopra. Hi, Aidan.
Hello. How are you?
So, Aidan is the Chief Creative Officer and more of BITSBOX, and I am so excited to introduce you to the concept and the availability of BITSBOX for you. If you're a parent or a grandparent, you need to know about this product, and it's just amazing. So Aidan, okay, so you're a co-founder, and you had what inspired you to do BITSBOX?
Well, I had the good fortune to work on a product called SketchUp, which was 3D modeling for architects and industrial designers and people like that. And I led the education team for a little while, and then was asked to write the For Dummies book for SketchUp back 10, 15 years ago. And I ended up writing that book, and I realized that my calling wasn't actually architecture, which is what I studied, or even software, where I was kind of working in. I really, really like imparting knowledge. I really love teaching, not necessarily teaching in the classroom, but I love taking a group of super willing but unskilled people and then taking a whole bunch of pretty scary technology and trying to find a way to make that technology accessible to the people who want to learn it. And so I started doing that with 3D modeling, but then a coworker of mine, Scott Leininger, who was already a super successful entrepreneur who had joined Google by selling his company to there. I should mention that SketchUp was part of Google. And we became sort of friends, acquaintances, and coworkers. And then one day, back in 2014, he came to me and said, "Let's go for a walk." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And we went out the door, and he said, "Well, I have to tell you I'm quitting." And I was like, "Oh no." Scott's I think he's one of our best engineers. He's one of these super entrepreneurial people. You can tell him what you're thinking about, and he'll stay up all night and build it. And I just thought, we're doomed. Scott's leaving. In the next breath, he said, "And I want you to come with me. I think you should quit too. You've been here for 10 years. Let's quit. I built this prototype of this system that teaches coding to kids, and you're really, really good at teaching and explaining things, and you love making stuff for kids, so let's go off and do this." And it took me 5 seconds to be like, yeah! And then I talked to my wife, and luckily she had a great job, and we were financially able for me to stop working and do that. And so it took me about 2 months to work up the nerve, but finally I quit. And we started this back in 2014. And it's just perfectly at the intersection of the things that I love. It's making stuff for kids. It's working on something that's actually making a difference. It's only going to get more important. And it's a literacy skill that kids are going to be better off having. And it's a thing that we haven't cracked yet. We're right. Like, I imagine in the 1500s, people were having arguments about how to best teach everyone to read. Right. It was going from a thing where just like scribes were reading to like, maybe everybody should be able to read. We're there with coding now, where it's really still a debate. Like, how many people should be doing this? And is everybody really capable? And why? And why would you? I think in 100 years, it's going to seem silly. Like, of course, people need to know how the whole world works. Like, of course. So it's a hard problem, and it's an important problem. And I get to make incredible, I'm also a graphic designer type. And so I make things like Eat You Up, which is a story, right? You're holding one between a giraffe and a lion. This is a code your own birthday card app. And this is psychedelic seahorse. You don't even have to do shrooms to enjoy this one. This is goggle heads, but you could put politicians' heads on here if you want. We have a bunch of them in the library. So all day, we get to make awesome stuff and send it to kids all over the world.
I want to try to show this closer if I can. This is the back of one of those cards, which I grabbed. And I don't know if it can focus, but basically what these kids are doing is they get this cute, colorful package every month, right? It's like Fruit of the Month Club, you guys. If people remember the Fruit of the Month Club, you did a subscription and you got a package every month. That's what this is.
Yeah, there's a sequence. It's a sequence. So it's a subscription, but a sequence subscription. So everybody in their first month gets box 1 because we assume you're a beginner. And box 1 focuses on coordinates, but it's animal themed. And then box 2 is robot themed, but it focuses on variables. And so every month walks you through a different important computer science concept.
Okay, and so what are the age groups that most people, the age groups that this is for? Is it from young?
So 6 to 12.
Wow, that's pretty big.
As soon as kids can read. I mean, it's the really neat thing is that this is typed coding. So it's actual JavaScript coding with some commands that make it a little bit easier for kids to do it. The benefit of doing typed coding instead of just graphical sort of drag and drop coding is that it works on literacy and numeracy as well. Like my son wants a Lamborghini in his app. He has to figure out how to spell Lamborghini so that it can pull from the library and get it in. That's probably not the most important word for an 8-year-old, but we have big aspirations for our business. One day my son will have a Lamborghini for his 60th birthday.
That's great. That's so great. So this is why I wanted everyone to know about this. I think this is just a fantastic opportunity. You know, people complain about the use of technology, but here's a technology use which expands their mind, keeps them busy on good stuff. They're not playing war games. There's no violence to it. And they're challenging themselves and building their self-esteem, because every step that they win, they feel good about themselves and they get another. So,
exactly.
So are these, do some of these work on your phone, or is this all on a computer?
Well, you do the coding on a computer. Okay. So the thing about typed coding is it really helps to have a physical keyboard. So a laptop, a desktop, a Chromebook, even an iPad or a tablet, as long as it has a separate physical keyboard that you've attached to it, works great. And then the apps, so kids build the apps on our website by typing. And then if they want, they can they can put up a little QR code that's specific to their app on the screen. And then they can
Oop. Internet. Oh, well, for those of you that don't know,
then grandparents and aunts and uncles and friends and everybody can play the app that the kids are building too.
Great. Our internet kind of did something wonky for a second.
Kathy, you went black. I don't know if anybody can still see me. I don't know if I'm broadcasting at all.
You are. It just stuck.
Kathy, are you there?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm here.
I don't know if I can see the comments.
No, you're here.
Are we still broadcasting?
Yes.
I'm not sure. Huh.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Let's see.
Oh, darn. Can you hear me?
Oh, we are. Okay. So I'm assuming Marie or Mary, maybe Marie, because of the way you spell it.
Yeah.
Oh, you see and hear both of me. So I don't see Kathy, which is weird.
That's all right.
Maybe.
Can you hear me?
Maybe we start this again.
Oh.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'll reload the page and see if that works. Because I don't see Kathy and I can't.
Oh, darn it. Life is never dull. Okay, so let's see.
Oh, I see you again.
Yes, I could see you the whole time.
Oh, really?
Me for some weird reason. So, guys, just so you know, we are in the same building. We have different internet. We're both on Comcast internet, but he's on a different bandwidth than I am. So that shouldn't happen on your side.
I don't know what's going on, but thank you. Yeah. It looks like we picked up. Yeah. Picked up while it happened. So we should go off again.
No. No. Okay, so tell us about the best, one of the cool stories that you found, because I watched some of the videos and everything. Plus, just to disclose to everyone, we're in the same building. and I see Aidan all the time, but I've never gotten to interview him before because we just see each other in the kitchen of coding. But like I see the videos and everything where it's really an amazing, it's almost like a family time that you're creating. It's not just the kids going in the room and doing their homework. The kids get to share it with their parents or grandparents, right?
A really awesome thing. So there's kind of two kinds of parents. There's the parents who know how to code and the parents who don't. And then the neat thing about parents who know how to code and they want their kids to learn is they go, oh, I'm going to teach you. And then they look at what they're doing at work and they go, I can't teach you using this stuff. It doesn't, like, what you need is projects and examples and like motivating, interesting things. It's sort of like being a concert pianist and then trying to teach your 6-year-old, and you have to go back to chopsticks and things. And if you don't have that stuff to help a learner, you don't have it. So what parents who are technical love about this is it gives them this library of projects to work on with kids, and they can sort of sit with them and they can say, oh, I wonder if this thing I know works, and they can sort of find hidden Easter eggs and backdoors and things like that.
Oh, so they can do the project. Well, a lot of projects and a lot of toys and games are really for the adults anyway.
We have a lot of grown-ups using BITSBOX to learn as well. And so what we hear is from tons of grown-ups is that, like, I've always wanted to learn to code, and maybe I have a shot with your thing, right?
Wow.
But then there's non-coding parents, and that's really cool because they're learning along with their kids. And so you're both sitting there at the same time. We ship every month, along with the box, we ship a grown-up guide.
Oh, really?
Grown-up guide. This is from box 1, and it's the one about coordinates. So this has, kind of a little primer, I don't know how to pronounce it, on just the stuff you need to know to help your kid as she's working on this stuff too. So I think what a lot of us who are parents of little kids have is it's hard to know how to play with them. Like, people talk about playing with your kid, and it's incredibly boring to play with a kid who's like 3 or 4 because they're constantly changing the rules and you have to be on the floor and it's terrible. And then they get a little older and all of a sudden they're interested in, if you're lucky, they're interested in Lego and Playmobil and stuff like that. If you're less lucky, they're really into video games and characters you see on TV and things. But BITSBOX and other things like this are the sorts of things where you can sit down and you can try to be creative and you can challenge each other. And it's actually kind of cool if neither of you understands it, because you figure it out together and you have that moment of discovery. You're like, I wonder. And so we get videos of parents and their kids like, yay, we made it work. One of the dirty little secrets of coding is that when you're starting out, it's broken 98% of the time. Coding, like lots of people say, our product makes it so easy you can't fail. That's not true. Coding itself is difficult. It really is. It's like learning music. It's like learning to cook. It just takes, anybody can do it, but it takes time, good examples, and the teacher.
Right, and, right. And you have to be patient enough.
To it and make some awesome stuff is so cool.
Yeah. Well, Marie says, great guide. She's a non-coding parent, and my son would be the one teaching me to code. So
kids' enthusiasm make up for grown-ups' fear.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, I wanted to ask about, I know that you distribute from your site. I also know, and I hope this is okay to bring it up, that you are on Shark Tank with this concept. Huh?
Mm-hmm, we were on Shark Tank, yeah. And
when was that?
What's that?
When was that you were on?
We taped that in September of 2016, and it aired in February of 2017. So about 2.5 years ago. And
how was that? What was that?
So it was funny because we started this as product people who'd never raised money from investors before. And when you first start, you create your little baby business and you go out and you try and raise money for it. It's so intimidating. People you otherwise would have been peers with all of a sudden are sort of holding the purse strings and are asking you hard questions about things you don't really have answers for. And it's really scary. But they never, ever ask you to make a decision in 4 seconds, and you're never in front of millions of people when you have to do it. And so we did it. We raised some money successfully, and I think we got pretty good at it. And then we went on Shark Tank, and we rehearsed and we practiced. I think we did a really good job presenting our case and everything. And then one of the sharks the guest shark that week, a guy named Chris Sacca, who's a pretty well-known angel / VC investor, said, I want to come in. And then he gave us a really low offer. It was actually lower than the valuation that we had just raised on. So it would have represented, if we'd taken his deal, it would have been a down round for the investors who just come in a week before. And we had told ourselves beforehand we didn't want to do that.
Right.
We tried to negotiate, and he did this thing. And, it's a television show. He was like, "Oh, I'm offended. You don't know why I am." And if you were serious about this, you would take it. And then he said, "And for that, I'm out." Right. And then they got the requisite shot of us going like, "Ah." And then I begged probably for too long. And Scott was more resolute than I was on television. Right. And we left with no deal. But the thing aired. I think what Chris did is he guaranteed that it would be good television. They used it to promo the show actually for a week. And then they put us on last, which is a really, really good spot to be on in that show.
Oh.
So our business tripled in the next 2 weeks.
Wow. So great publicity. So that's what I'm calling being a conscious business, when you make a decision that you're going to hold to your values or hold to the line. And you do that. You make a powerful choice that affects, because you have quite a few people working for you now. It's a big deal when
we're a team of 9 now, so quite a few relative to 2.
Only 9. It seems like there's more.
Well,
I don't know. I start counting anyway. Yeah. Okay, so. And Scott is kind of a different, he's like, you have the fun and creativity side. Is he more the business financial guy?
He and Anastasia, our COO, I think bear the brunt of the seriousness in this enterprise. What's fun is that actually I think Scott's more creative than I am, and actually he's the one who taught me how to do this kind of graphic design. He's an unbelievably talented graphic designer. He not only taught himself to code, but he also writes fiction. He's a published author. He has also developed, a video game on the side while doing this. He's also created another subscription box with another friend that does like a murder mystery in the mail thing. He's just constantly making stuff, and he's pretty funny. But our roles at the company are such that he's the CEO and has to think about things like company culture and lawyers and documents and stuff like that. Revenue. Yeah. And I get to kind of yuck it up most of the time. Yeah.
So now you distribute through Amazon, correct? Is that also another way that people can go to this website that I'm showing now?
Mm-hmm.
Or they can they, how do they reach you through Amazon?
If you just go to Amazon and search for BITSBOX, there. And it's it's interesting because on Amazon, last time I saw, I think we had like 63 reviews. We've got a 4.5 star rating. I think 90 or 92% of our reviews are 4 or 5 star. We're really lucky. The nice thing about going to Amazon is you can read a lot about what people think about the product and see when people ask questions and stuff. The cool thing about Amazon is that we didn't have any retail channels at all. And then at the beginning of last year in 2018, we got an email from Amazon saying, "Hey, we're starting up a subscription box sales platform, and we're reaching out to a select few businesses to help us launch this thing as launch partners." And the reason for that is a bunch of Amazon parents, I think, had been getting BITSBOX, and they just thought it was cool. And so when they started nosing around, like, who should we ask to be a part of this, they thought of us. And so we were the first kids flat box, maybe the first or second on the platform. I understand that we're one of the best-selling subscription boxes on Amazon right now, and they've featured us twice as a deal of the day. We were the first sub box to be featured as a deal of the day, and then the first one to be featured twice.
Wow.
And that increases your orders.
That's amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
What's amazing is that this is a physical product in a digital world. That's what, and you're working with digital things. So for you to have a resource or have a distributor as big as Amazon, which could like blow your sales up, And that had to be a pretty scary first step to partner with them.
Yeah, we literally didn't know what kind of volume we would need. I mean, we packed the warehouse. We will fulfill ourselves with the product. So but they have incredibly strict rules about how quickly you have to fulfill an order after you get it.
Right.
So we had to rework, and all credit goes to Anastasia and Scott on this, but with our distribution center in Wisconsin, they're the ones who pick and pack and mail our boxes. Streamlining the process so that we would get orders from Amazon, and then within a couple of years, or hours actually, figure out
years.
Not only, I mean, the tricky thing about our product is it's a sequence. So the sequence is really good because we know we need to stock a lot of boxes 1, 2, and 3, right? You can order that in bulk and get it ahead of time. The harder part is trying to figure out which box a kid needs to get. So it's entirely possible that she got it from her parents 2 years ago for Christmas and got it for 3 months and then stopped because school got busy. And now a grandparent is getting that BITSBOX subscription on Amazon now. And so knowing that she should get box 4 instead of box 1 is the difference between profitability and non-profitability from our point of view. And grandparents sometimes don't even know that the parent got, that they already got it years ago. So we have some really complex code under the covers sort of that tries to figure out based on address and name and blah, 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 all these other things, which thing a kid should get. And then we get those orders to our fulfillment center and try and get them shipped on the same day. If you don't, Amazon penalizes you like you wouldn't believe. And so Anastasia, our COO, has done like an amazing job of this goes like clockwork. And so far, people have been really happy.
That is fantastic. Well, Zach Bergen's here, and he said, "Do you incorporate speech recognition?" I worked with Wayne Ward, who started the Center for Spoken Language Research at CU.
We do not incorporate speech recognition right now. No. I've talked to 1 or 2 entrepreneurs who have startups in that realm, but no, we don't do that right now. Okay. How does he imagine that gets incorporated?
Well, he's local, so I can introduce you to him. Okay, so he says that would be a nice tool for building apps. Also, are you involved with virtual reality, AR? I build solutions for exploitation using Oculus Rift /Touch. Are you going to grow to BITSBOX? I don't know what that BITSBOX. Do you know what BITSBOX?
BITSBOX.
I don't know. I don't know what the second part is. But anyway, he's talking about virtual reality, and that's what I was kind of talking about. That this is a tangible, physical thing, which I love, and as a grandparent, I'm a new grandparent.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Thank goodness for grandparents. Free babysitting.
Yeah, just 7 weeks. So, but of course she's brilliant, but she's not this brilliant yet. But I mean, the idea is that the virtual reality stuff, you know, I like the idea of imagination, but grounding it into this reality versus putting on the virtual reality and out. I don't know. But spoken word language, that's what's happening and everything.
The thing about VR and AR is that we're all really interested in that. As a former architecture person, as a person who worked on 3D modeling software a lot, I've thought a lot about, and I've even worn headsets, and you know those people with the
goggles
them on, and they're like in their own world, and all you want to do is go up and steal their briefcase. But they have no idea what's going on right next to them. It's like, I know you're on Mars fighting dragons, but I'm gonna take this wallet now. The thing about the Oculus and the other stuff is that it's gotten, I mean, that's obviously really good, right? And so I think right now we create apps that work on your devices like this, and they're just 2D apps. It's basic programming. But we're definitely really interested in the idea of moving into 3D, and then once we move into 3D, maybe then there's a VR or an AR component. I've been pushing for a long time to think about coding characters which would exist in the virtual world, but which you could interact with through AR in the real world. So you could imagine coding a little robot, but instead of the robot being on your screen, it would look with the glasses on like the robot was sitting on your table. and you could make the robot fly or shoot lasers or yell obscenities or do whatever you want to do. It'd be kind of cool.
Well, there's another thing to just let you know that I know of. There are people using like QR codes. I'm not sure they are QR codes, but they're a graphic that takes you to another website or takes you somewhere to personalize. And they're doing on T-shirts now. So like if I wanted to get you a Father's Day T-shirt, I could actually have one specially made with a barcode, QR code like thing on it, and they're calling that the digital virtual reality. So personalization, so mugs could be done like that, where you could just use your reader. For people that don't understand what I'm talking about, a QR code is a graphic emblem, and I had one here a second ago, I think.
I have a picture of or a little app with an explanation of what it looks like.
And what it is it allows you to oh yeah, this one doesn't have it on. I thought it did. Okay, yeah, there we go. So on the far right side, you see that graphic that's black and white. There are readers, there's apps and readers that allow you to just click on that, just focus on it just like an image, and it takes you to a website. So you don't have to key in. You can do it. It's just the lazy person's way of.
It's a shortcut. Yeah.
It's okay. I like it. I like it. So just so you know, that's a trend that's going to be everywhere. Probably within 6 months, it'll be again on clothing, on mugs. I mean, because why should you just give a regular mug when you can give a mug that's personalized?
Even if it has a portrait that somebody made of you.
That's cute. See, these guys are so clever. You have to understand.
An android.
We're working down the hall from them. There's always something cool going on. So I've got some other people on here, but I don't have questions. I was hoping Daniel Hall's here and David Lopez, and thank you, Zach, for that question. And Zach, I'd love to introduce you guys. And Lisa's here, and Marie's still here. So anybody have any other questions and great ideas? Like Zach has, he says he doesn't do gaming. I do physics engineering for enterprise levels such as DoD and other aspects. It's no joke yet. Yet have fun laughing anyway. I'm laughing also, only love, and I don't have a briefcase. Okay. So Aidan, do you have a CRM, which is a customer relationship management? Is that what Marie, is that what you want? CRM usually is customer relationship management software.
Like a system for that?
Well, it would be a regular text. It's usually a system like ACT, some of the Salesforce. Yes, that's what you're asking. So that
sort of. I mean, we kind of use our sales platform. So BITSBOX's backend on the consumer side is a system called Create Joy that actually is the backend for a lot of subscription boxes. Oh, so that acts as our CRM sort of. But then we also use MailChimp, to basically contact people. But we don't have anything as sophisticated as Salesforce in place right now. Well, we're B2C, and so it's been less important, I think.
Well, Salesforce is if you have to keep doing follow-up, and it's a giant Excel. I mean, a lot of these software programs are sophisticated Excel spreadsheets, basically, with other ways to query. That's
yeah.
Okay, so Lisa just asked, what's the subject? She just popped in. So Lisa, we're kind of into it, so I can't start from the beginning, but this is what we're doing. We're talking about BITSBOX, and if you go to that website, you'll be able to see what we're talking about. It's a subscription coding program where you, as a parent or a grandparent, you can subscribe your kid to get monthly packages so that they can learn how to code. And they're sequenced, so they go from beginner on up, and and they work from 6, do you say 6 to 13?
Yeah, 6, 12, 13, 14. It sort of all depends on the kid. I think the sweet spot is probably 9 to 11, something like that. That's the moment at which kids are most open to. They're not too old to learn new things yet. They haven't generally started, full-blown puberty when they've decided that they're too cool to like build cool stuff.
Is it more male or female? Puberty, forget it. Their brain's gone. But
it's 50-50.
It really? Oh,
yeah, no, we were so deliberate from the very beginning. I mean, this prototype was built by my co-founder Scott for his daughter Audrey when she was 7, and so from the get-go, the first user 0, was a little girl, and we're just all super committed to making something that's as gender neutral as possible. Which doesn't mean that we don't occasionally have apps that are frilly. This is a prototype for retail that we made. It's a mix-up app, so you can mix and match creatures' bodies and heads and things like that. And this packaging is pink and blue and purple, and it's what you would see in the Barbie aisle maybe at Target. There's that kind of thing. There's also this kind of thing, which is make your own fish tank, or make your own pizza app, or make your own coloring app, or make your own ninja app, something like this. But the point is to have a variety of activities so that no matter what a kid is into, if she's into unicorns and rainbows, or if she's into trucks and lasers and stuff like that, there should be a place where she can, find something interesting to work on. It's one of the reasons, you talk about conscious business. From the very beginning, we decided that we weren't going to have a set of characters, a set of androgynous, racially ambiguous, purple and green characters who you try to sort of interact with. We just decided not to take that approach. Instead, we decided to just have a variety of activities, things that are photorealistic, like the dogs in this thing, things that are more cartoony vector art, like the dogs and cats in this thing.
It's raining dogs.
Stuff that's humorous, stuff that's serious, stuff that's games, things that are greeting cards, stuff that's pink, stuff that's blue, stuff that's yellow, a big mix. And it's worked. Fully half of our users are girls, which we're incredibly proud of.
That is so cool, because I think I was part of a group maybe 10 years ago that was a call out at the University of Colorado. The president was pulling a call out because they were so concerned about the US's lack of technology experts, and that we were relying on international students to come in to bring the coding knowledge and the brain power, and there were no women. The percentage of women was so low, and that was 10 years ago, and they were very concerned. And now I imagine with how difficult it is to come in from for the immigration laws of the US, that may be affecting the coding world a lot. That technology.
A lot of people don't know this, but the world's first computer programmer was a woman in the mid 1800s. Her name was Lovelace. And this picture, like a Victorian portrait of a woman with like birds and fruit and animals on her hat. And she was the first, she was crazy smart and worked on one of the first, she was a programmer, right? And then the people working on ENIAC, that enormous, truck-sized computer that they developed in the 40s, those were women programming those things. If you saw movies like Hidden Figures and stuff, coding was considered the sort of work that, for better, for worse, right? Hardware design, the people who built the physical computers, those were male engineers. The actual reading of the code, the figuring out the math and stuff was considered not very sexy. And so it was considered like work women could do, which is incredibly stupid. But the point is that for decades, actually, most computer programming was done and led by women. It was really in the 80s that women started dropping out of these programs. And a lot of people believe it's because of this, actually. So this is Scott's first computer. It's a Radio Shack TRS-80 machine.
Wow.
His parents bought him this thing in, I think, 83 when he was 7 or 8. for Christmas. And he was one of actually tens of thousands of little boys who got these things for Christmas early then. And then, 10 years later, they start college and they go to computer science classes. And because of the marketing that was done in the late 70s and early 80s to get these things to boys, all of a sudden girls were in these freshman computer science classes surrounded by boys who'd been coding for a few years. Yeah, and feeling like they were behind all of a sudden. They were in a freshman 101 course, and all of a sudden they didn't have the back, and then they just went, I don't belong here, obviously. Right. And they dropped out. And that's when you started to see the share of women in these programs drop. And that's had decades worth of negative impact. Right. And, that's how you end up with things like Facebook, right? Facebook is what you get when mostly men, mostly straight men, mostly straight white men are the people who develop a social network that's used by everyone. You get maybe not as much attention to things like privacy and sharing and stuff paid as you would if you'd gotten a more diverse group of people to work on that. So it's not just for statistics' sake that it's important to have more women and people of color working on this stuff. But the world that we live in is technological, and it's only going to get more technological. And if more of us aren't responsible for dreaming of what that world will be and how it's going to work and what the rules are, it's going to be kind of a terrible place. We have to have, it's already kind of a terrible place, but if we have any shot of getting it back to being someplace that's worth living in, we need more people to build it.
I think coding. I used to do Visual Basic a lot, and I do a lot of websites, so PHP and HTML, so and video. So I'm a constant learner, but I really think if you don't know this stuff, it's such a handicap. They used to say you needed to be worldly, you had to have multiple languages. I speak Italian, although I'm rusty, but I speak English and Italian. And there aren't too many people that can say that they speak multiple languages in the US anymore, unless they came from a culture where they kept their language and they learned.
I speak French, but I'm Canadian, so there you go.
Well, so this is a way to learn another language. The coding is another language, and this is the language that's going to be a universal, just like mathematics is a universal language. I think this is a part of our future, really, and such a positive, look at you guys, look how much fun this is. Doesn't it make you want to do it? Come on.
So that app, it's just the bones of it, but basically a lion's on the screen and a giraffe's on the screen, and the lion roars and says yum, and then the giraffe screams and runs away. And then you have to code the rest of the story. And here's a funny thing. We actually got a chiding email from a kid in reaction to that app. So I don't know if it was a boy or girl, but it's typed in all caps, like your traditional crazy person, email. In all caps, it said, that app isn't realistic because in real life, the lion would be scared of the giraffe because of the giraffe's powerful kick. So we are not wildlife biologists. I think we had assumed perhaps the wrong interaction between those particular species. But one of the amazing things about making stuff for kids is that they do not let you get away with stuff. They just do not, right? There's no filter for things they perceive to be wrong. And so the things that we learn about from kids who use our stuff, and we get the best emails. Oh my God, we get the best emails. It's so good.
What, as far as this goes, I can almost see a pro version for the next age group that might be where you have BITSBOX Pro, where the older kids have it. They could fly up like you would in Boy Scouts. But on the back of this one is a mini challenge and a super challenge. So it's and with hints. So do you have somebody that interacts in your customer service department all day long answering questions that people might have, or how do you deal with the questions?
Well, when kids have a question coding, there's a little question mark that's always down in the corner of the screen.
Okay.
And so they can click the little question mark and type a question to us. It's not live chat, and it goes to our customer service team, and they're Alexandria and Sadie. They're wonderful, and they field everything from my box got run over by the mail truck to how do I code this complex function thing in this app? And so the breadth of knowledge that they have to have is enormous, and they do a great job. We staff things business hours, 7 days a week, most days of the year, which is cool. And we endeavor to try and answer kids' questions within a couple of hours when they come in. And usually we will not tell them exactly what the answer is. We'll say, oh, I think there's something wrong on line 3, or have you tried this? Or we even have little example apps that say you want to do this, well, check this app out. This is a really great example of what you'd like to do with yours, and see if you can glean how to do that. So it's all about learning from example rather than gamified tutorials or a bunch of reading.
And we're not competing against anyone else. That's the other good thing I like about this, is that this is quiet time. Let me see if I can do it kind of thing, right?
It's a lot like Lego. The thing about Lego is, you buy a box at the store and it has a picture of an awesome crane or a spaceship or a summer house or something on it. And inside there's a million pieces and instructions for building that summer house. And so you build the summer house, but then you have all these pieces. You have, first of all, the framework for like, how do I make a building? And you also have all these pieces that you can turn into something else. So that's exactly how BITSBOX works. We give you the instructions, we give you a bunch of pieces, and we give you the instructions for how to make, let's say, a birthday card. And you can build a birthday card, but you can totally use everything you learn to make anything you want. And the cool thing is, if you've got the summer house and the crane, then the first thing you do once you've got both of those is you stick them together and you've got a summer house crane. It has wheels and laser cannons and, a food truck back and all the other stuff. And that's exactly what kids do with code too.
Well, Legos, you have a possibility of hurting yourself. It's very painful to step on them, whereas I don't imagine it hurts that much to step on.
You get a paper cut, but you have to work pretty hard at it.
So as far as your plans, I mean, you've obviously had amazing growth for this year because of the relationship with Amazon. Do you have any other plans for big growth coming up that you want to share? I mean, it might be super secret, but
it's not super secret. It's just not baked yet. So we're obviously we have this consumer product, and we chose to launch consumer, with a Kickstarter campaign just because we had no background in schools. Logically, like, schools are where you can reach the most kids, and it's where they're ostensibly already learning. Computer science isn't very well adopted in the States yet. Most schools still don't offer it. They certainly don't offer it in elementary school. And when they do, it tends to be pretty game-based or robot-based stuff where the kids, they're learning, but they lose interest pretty quickly. And the teachers themselves don't know how to teach it yet because they don't understand it. And they don't have the right professional development resources and blah, blah, blah. It's a big hard thing. So we are both, we've created a version of the product specifically for schools, and people can buy that on our website. It's a textbook / workbook activity thing where kids can use it online. And then we're also looking into partnerships with other companies that are already in schools to see if we could potentially be part of their computer science curriculum. And we have some really good leads on that.
Wonderful. That sounds fantastic.
We're entering the negotiation phase where I think it's going to be a lot like Shark Tank. I think we're way, way out of our depth, but hopefully we won't be humiliated in front of millions of people.
And so this is what I wanted everyone to realize. These guys started in 2014 with a great idea and with a passion for making a difference in the world and to leave a legacy that their kids would benefit from, as well as have fun doing a job. And so look at what they're doing. You guys, this is such a great example of brilliant idea and determination, because I'm sure there are lots of times where it's like, ooh, I could get a decent job coding. I could go back and just do that and just go to work and not have to worry about all this. But this is just such a creative expression. I mean,
this is my dream job. I don't know. I wasn't a coder before. I went to art school. I was a jeweler, metalsmith, graphic designer, photographer type. And then I went to architecture school. My dad's an architect. That's a hard profession. There's no panacea there. I get to work with amazing people in an amazing place with wonderful neighbors in the building. And I get to make stuff like this, and I don't know. I can't think of anything I'd rather be doing, honestly. So I feel
but I'm hoping that this will inspire people to take the step to do something that really is their heart's desire to make a contribution to humanity, because it's just a fabulous opportunity to help your kids, help your grandkids. It's a healthy way to do pastime that'll grow their knowledge, that'll serve them for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
It will.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So Scott, I want to ask and I think it's really fun to go to your website, because your names, you just have your first names on it. And you just have cartoons. So is that on purpose to keep more private?
No, I think it was just, I think we were a little tired of the websites where it was like a, a photograph of your head in a bubble along with your title and stuff. Those are, I think those are also, it coincided with, Apple came up with an emoji, like you can create an avatar of yourself. And I just thought they were funny. So we all did those.
Yeah, I like that.
They were nice. And also, people generally don't like photographs of themselves. And so it made it easier to not have to do that. It's easier also when a new person joins the team, we just have them create their own little avatar instead of having to find the right lighting setup and take a photograph of them for the website. So there's a practical reason for using a cartoon instead of.
Okay. Well, but I'm trying to make sure that everyone knows how to reach you. I've got your BITSBOX up. If they want to reach you, you're on Facebook. Not a lot.
BITSBOX Kids. Well, I mean, our company certainly is on. I'm not a big Facebooker, but we are as a company. So our handle is BITSBOX Kids on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Pinterest.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll put that in the explanation.
Okay.
So that the people can find you. And is there anything else that you'd like to? We're ready to wrap up. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave the audience with? I'm so inspired by what you do. Thank you.
Well, thank you. No, I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk to your audience. And if anybody has any questions, they're free to email me directly. It's just Aidan@bitsbox.com, and that's AIDAN. It's Nadia backwards. It's possible my parents wanted it.
I didn't realize that.
At bitsbox.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions people have.
Oh, great. Okay. And as you can see, this is a wonderful interview. So any of my friends that have opportunities for interviews, you can see it's quite a bit of entertainment and fun, along with purposeful information. So yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you. And I'll see you in the kitchen probably.
Probably. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Zach. See you guys.